Welcome to the Deep Six podcast, where we make a generational impact on you and yours. What we do here is explore a 6-point model into your health, your life, and your journey while you're here. So let's dive deep and help you thrive, not just survive. Hey, good afternoon to the Deep Six, where we explore all these wonderful things for your health and your life and your journey. Listen, man, diving deep. Here's an easy one, because the guy I have here, who's very inspirational, very motivational in that. So it doesn't take a lot to dive deep into these things. But I want to thank him for joining us. Kelly Siegel here, which is a entrepreneur. Welcome, by the way. Welcome,
Jim. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. And fellow podcaster, entrepreneur, author. Your company NTM does amazing technology, IT stuff for us. Thank you, by the way. And so
I can't take the credit for it. My team makes me. They keep all the promises. You know as well as I do. You run EOS, so it's so simple to run a good company when you have a plan.
Yeah.
And Gino put us together a good plan.
Yep.
We execute it, and then get out of the way.
Yeah.
There's your cheat code to running a successful business. Yeah. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Don't be the bottleneck.
The owner, CEO, whatever. Yeah, just like. Be there, be present, but yeah, like good team, good leader, build the people, and they build the company, right?
Yeah, if I show up, I'm going to screw everything up.
That's funny. And they're like, hey, so when you get there, they get all nervous, right? They start like pitting out a bit.
they just push me right into my office and go. So
that's awesome. Well, welcome though, again, thank you. Like I already said, fellow podcaster, Harder Than Life, great podcast. Love it. You had me on. So thank you. That was fun to do too.
Yeah, that podcast blew up, man. It was a good one. If you guys haven't heard, head over to Harder Than Life podcast on YouTube or iTunes and listen to. We deep dove into your Deep Six, and was that thing exploded. We could have talked for hours.
Well, yeah, we started to before the show. We started to we went off on a sidetrack. And our engineers are like, yo, guys, let's get the show going.
Oh, we could talk about everything. It's fun.
Yeah. So, but thanks again. But, I do want to, start kind of this. And I always start with a quote a little bit on our podcast just to kind of get the mood going. And you're very deep. And I know not to sound like cliche here, meaning, you wrote a book, Harder Than Life. Great book. I read it. But it's a lot about something we're going to get into, which is called, and I'm a big fan of this, the bounce back. Just having traumas, hard times, things like this, and then how you rebound and how you get personal growth from. But I think you're going to like this quote. So I want to start the podcast with this quote before we get into stuff. And I'm a big thing about, quotes, authors, books. I know you read a lot.
I love it. Because
they're motivational. And even when you're doing good and you're thriving and all that, we can all use that nudge or reminder that, hey, So this one I love. This is from George Santana. And the quote is, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." What does that mean to you? What do you think about that?
Well, I think a lot of different things. I would tell you, number one is you got to learn. Wise, smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from other people's mistakes. And all too often we're on this hamster wheel of life. And we just keep not looking at universal signs of saying, hey, this is where I need you to learn. This is God, universe, source, whatever you want to say, whatever the energy is in the world that's pushing you towards your highest self, we ignore it. Mm-hmm. And that's just exactly what it is. And if you pay attention and you look back in your life, God or universe or source was showing you the way, and we tend to ignore it. I did it. In my book, Harder Than Life, we talk about it over and over and over. Yeah. I would look in the mirror and know I was doing things that weren't in alignment.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why things weren't working out for me. So
a little bit of victim, right? Probably a little bit of like, what's going on? Why me? Why this again, right?
Yeah. And that's another one you just went off on is whenever you're getting in there, don't ask why. Ask what. Mm-hmm. What are you trying to teach me? What can I do better? What's the next step? And the universe will show you. The universe will show you where you're not free. Mm-hmm. And it's usually where there's the most strife.
Yeah.
And head right into that.
Yeah.
And that's the voluntary hardship, the portal to your happiness, man. Yeah. It's in your Deep Six. It's the same stuff, man.
Well, and it's the 6 points are because they're so impactful to life, whether it's genetics or hormones or, gut health and But a lot of it is mind, body, and kind of where you're at and meeting yourself where you're at. And kind of like this quote, you're condemned to repeat the past is, there is a lot of discomfort, I believe, in personal growth, and people don't like to hear that because, we're creatures of wanting to find happiness and safety and love and, ease. We don't like, but the reality is when you're growing and things are evolving, and that's what, yourself, right, have gone through, looked to, evolved to, still do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like, it's uncomfortable. I've even told my kids, you need to get, they don't like this, by the way, but I said, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable sometimes, and you'll find that you grow.
I'm sure I told you this on my podcast, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I had to be comfortable being comfortable because my life was so chaotic growing up that I am absolutely comfortable in the uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, that's when I thrive.
Okay.
That's where the harder than life brand. And actually, that's what I had to change in my mindset recently that's taking me to the next level. I would wake up and I'm ready to fight. Bring me a fight. Let's go. It's harder than life.
Right.
Well, guess what? When you're in alignment and there's no fights.
Right.
I don't have any fights,
Right.
but I would get up and create one.
Yeah.
And I realized, the world is abundant. I'm abundant. Let's let things happen.
Yeah.
And there's no fight to have.
Yeah.
And guess what? I haven't had a fight today.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I don't want any fights with you, man.
I mean, we're talking proverbial, metaphorical fights. And,
Right.
You wake up and the world is, what do they say? Your frequency is what you frequently see. Mm-hmm. So if I am always seeing puzzles, problems, strife, it's always going to be there.
Right.
So now what do I see? I see friendship. I see love. I see opportunity. And what do I see more of? Love, friendship, opportunity. And it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And there's, and the coolest part about it is the connection, Jim.
Yeah.
We let's get dinner and let's figure out how to do the next thing. And, I'm sure you're going to have me out riding bikes and I'm going to have you in Florida. And that's what life is all about. It's the journey.
Yeah.
It's not about getting to the destination. It's about who you become when you're going down there. And, some people, I'll tell you a story since we're chit-chatting, is if you don't make change in your life and you don't grow, there are regrets. Mm-hmm. As I was told a story, last week was my birthday, 49. Oh,
happy
and my sister,
birthday.
Thank you. My sister,
looking great.
Thank you. Try to be like you.
Look like feeling great, right?
My sister called me and told me, and she let it slip that my parents are in bad shape. My stepfather, who was the most abusive dude in the world to me and to her, is laying in a nursing home right now. He didn't take care of himself, so he had diabetes. He has leg amputated, and he's laying in bed. My mom doesn't go see him. I obviously have no relationship with him, and he's alone. Mm-hmm. And that's the life that he cultivated. Yeah. And then my mom is basically being taken care of by my sister, and I looked at her and said, "You're a saint because she treated you like garbage." Mm-hmm. But the world has consequences, both good and bad. So it's your choices, your inputs, are going to determine your outputs. So I got a newsflash for you. If you wonder, I've been sitting back asking God, are there consequences for being not so in line? And he just showed me that right there. Yeah. And they're going to die miserable. And I feel bad for them. And I actually thought for a hot second to go talk, but I'm like, you know what? What's that going to do for me? Mm-hmm. I've dealt with them, forgiven them. They did the best they could. Right. I love them from afar and I'm good. But it's just sad to see a gentleman laying in a bed. And that's the way he's going to die. Mm-hmm. And he's, from what I understand, he's kind of pretty coherent. So he just sits in there and doing nothing, rotting.
Yeah. It's sad, but I do hear what you're saying as far as like you reap what you sow kind of thing.
It goes right into your deep six. Yeah. So let's look at it. You have choices. You have options. Mm-hmm. I'm a perfect example of it. Mm-hmm. You're preaching it. You're installing it. You're teaching it. You're giving it to all your patients. Man, you can make your life the best you possibly can. Don't learn the hard way like I did. Yeah. Be a good person like you from very start and live the life of your dreams and then live till you're 120.
Yeah. Well, and, this makes me think of in, the clinical practice, like what you're saying is, this, kind of you die how you live. Mm-hmm. And literally, like I've seen and felt this in people. They're just, even when things are objectively better, in our testing, in our model, diving into hormones and diving into, nutrition and lifestyle stuff and etc. And they're still complaining. Their mindset's still negative, the opposite of what you're saying.
Send them to me.
Yeah. But no, seriously, it's and I have to pump the brakes. In fact, this week I just came to mind. So this 78-year-old, she's more than blessed. Okay. She has a loving son. She only has one child. They're both patients. He dotes on her. He takes her on cruises. He, and essentially, he's an unbelievable, person to her. And I'm sure she was a great mom. Don't get me wrong. She's got a little bit of dementia, a little bit of things we're working on, hormonal stuff. Obviously, she's 76 or 78, but she's a little negative. And I actually had to tell her some actionables to do. And that's hard to receive when you're that age.
What'd you give her? What'd you tell her? I mean,
yeah. I wish it was as easy as a pill. You're saying, what'd you give her? I gave her a hormone. No, I'm trying to do that, and it's. Hey, listen, she's done a lot better with some of hers. But I said you need to, and she has a therapist. I make her see a therapist. Okay, even at her age. But I said, you're going to lose everybody in your life because of your mindset. How about being more grateful? How about being kind to others? Thinking of others first, because she's very self-centered, and some of her talk, some of her woe is me, my memory's still not great. She's highly functional, by the way. She's wants this perfection in her life that instead of just being happy and living in the moment, and from what I can see, there's nothing but love around it, and support. Those are tough dynamics in relationships because they're parental, their father, son, their, mother, son.
78 years in the making.
Well, exactly. But I did have to give her some of that advice, and literally, she didn't argue or like that. She's like, yeah, I'll think about that and all that. But you do die how you live. You can push people away. I've seen this in ill people, like cancer patients, heart patients, people that go through hell. And then when we're helping them medically, but they're bitter a bit, and they can't, kind of be in the moment a bit. And they literally, their family is starting to they share with me. They're kind of running a bit, even though you'd be like, these are ill people. They need your support, but you're really in that space in your mindset that you're making them, you're not attracting them. you're repelling them.
You're doing God's work, my friend. I got to tell you, it's you think of someone 78 that has the world by the balls and they'd have it all figured out, but they don't. And now imagine if somebody doesn't have the capability to come see you, and what methodologies and what crutches are they using? Weed, alcohol, food, sex. And at least she's coming to you and has some outlet and has a son that cares. Yeah. But man, it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why you have podcasts like yours and mine for people to listen to. It's free therapy to go and learn and see. You can turn on anybody and learn right away. There's a lot of people in your situation. You're not alone. So to hear that, there's thousands of people that are listening to this right now that in the same situation. They're not 78. So I implore you, my public service announcement is, good grief, if you're young, please get a hold of your life now and live it, because you're going to blink your eye and you're going to be 49.
Right.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, I wasted, 25 years being wasted.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I love this.
Right. Well, so I'm organically you brought this up. So let's get into this a bit. So you have a book, Harder Than Life. Okay. If you don't mind, sharing a little bit with us. Tell us kind of some of the, call it cliff notes or whatever, but or what got you in the hey, I can't keep doing this. What's your turnaround? I call it the bounce back. What was your moment that you said, oh shit, I gotta pump the brakes on this. This is not working for me anymore.
I only had about 17 near-death experiences that I just ignored, we were talking about before, I got the scars to prove it, the gunshots to show it, the stab wounds, and I just ignored it all until one day, what happens? The heart beats the brain, man. Someone broke my heart, and I went looking and went, what am I doing? Remember, though, not why me. What am I doing to produce this result? And it was, I was a drunken whore, and I was attracting drunken whores, and I had to become who I wanted to attract. So I looked right in the mirror and said, I'm going to make some massive changes. I'm I do these things where I go from one spectrum to the other, just like that.
Yeah.
And you probably do the same. I don't need to just gradually, I'm going to jump right in both feet and then, figure out, well, we're only in 2 feet of water, or we're in 10 feet and there's nothing to float on. So my aha moment was that I got my heart broken.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm done doing this. I was searching for love in all the wrong places, and I wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
I just kept, my parents, what we talked about, were not, if there's a love meter, they owe me a lot of love. I had less than love. There was so I just went searching for it. And then when I realized, and this is the key to life, when I was listening to this, is you have everything that you need and require in life inside of you. Mm-hmm. The second I came to that realization. Now I can't even call it hard in life. I call it happier than life. That's the next book, by the way. Yeah. We'll have that out in a few months. Yeah. And
love it.
It's a cheat code. Mm. And then you use the hormones to keep yourself looking healthy, feeling healthy, and exercise. It's 3 things: exercise, eat right, and what was the third? Sleep right. Those are my 3 things I got to do. Yep. I got to work out, I got to eat right, and I got to sleep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get those 3 things right, I'm good to go.
Rock and roll.
I'm ready to. And that's probably 3 of the 6 of your deep 6.
Well,
then the mind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Those are, and the key thing too, I think, in that is where those are happening individually on a personalized level for that individual. You know what I mean? So for instance, like, you weren't aware. Do you remember you came to me and you weren't aware of your sleep issue and the kind of the grind and the go, and there was some imbalance? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hope you don't mind me bringing that up.
No. Anything you want. I'm open book.
Yeah. And some people, by the way, it's not as easy as like, hey, I just need to focus on that and start sleeping more. Some people need a peptide or need supplements or maybe their hormones are off. And then all of a sudden they are sleeping better and they're like, holy shit, but I feel way better. And my mind's clear, and now they have more, motivation and traction into losing weight or exercising or by the way, being positive about a relationship. You know what I mean?
I learned too, this is even since our podcast, is I think it was you on our podcast that said this. So what you said, getting up and going right back to bed does not affect your sleep. Like I get up to pee, because I'm of an age, and I go right through. And I think it was you on the podcast. As a matter of fact, you said, "Hey, that shouldn't interrupt. Yes, you get up for 2, but I don't stay up. Yeah. I literally am on
turn the TV on.
I'm like on a sleepwalk. Yeah. I can go in there and make it right to the potty, go right back. Yeah. And last night I think I was up 4 times, and I'm rested and ready to go. Yeah. And it was a mindset shift that I had to do in my head that just said, oh, there isn't nothing wrong with me. I'm just 49 years old. And no matter. And I was searching for a problem that wasn't there. It's kind of like what harder than life means. Mm-hmm. I was looking for that fight. And as soon as I changed my mindset, what's the difference? I'm up for 30 seconds, literally. Yeah. And I'm right back to sleep. Yeah. My latest thing now is I've added 10 pounds of muscle, and my shoulders are so big, they're falling asleep if I pinch them a little bit. So I got to sleep just right. I'm going to probably get a different type bed, but
like shaking your arms out. Like,
it's a problem. I don't mean to. Remember when my girl was like, why are you getting so big? I'm like, I'm not trying to. I work out with this behemoth in the morning. I eat right. And that's the one thing that I learned from you.
Did you add more protein?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so because that's a lot of people don't have enough protein. So like maybe you didn't change much, but just something that, and I know you know this, but that simple is like, whoa, I'm putting on mass now.
You made me look at that because I was like, I'm tired. Turns out I wasn't eating enough.
Right.
I'm go. Right. And it's like I was burning that fuel just like that. Right. So yeah, I'm really up the protein. I make sure 225 grams of protein a day. Right. 1 pound for every. 1 gram of protein for every pound you want to be. And I'm just hungry. Every time I'm hungry, I eat now. And I used to just, I gotta go. And it's counterproductive for me. Yeah. Everything is inputs and outputs, and you just weigh it and you just measure it, and what you measure gets better. Mm-hmm. And the only issue is that if you're always looking for something, you'll find it.
Oh, for sure.
So that's where going back, being present. Be present right here, right now. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the day. Yeah. And tomorrow will work itself out.
Yeah, absolutely. This actually made me think of something that was just last night with a patient, because you said, don't they'll get caught in or in the loop or in the cycle of like, looking for something or something else has to be or because this gentleman, he actually, great guy, lives in Florida, flies up to see me. Long story short is he had COVID, not he's like dying from COVID, but he got some respiratory COVID, and COVID will lower your serotonin. And I'm trying to convince him about protein, amino acids, maybe, by the way, because I've tested his neurotransmitters and stuff. I mean, maybe he needs something else. I'm not even getting into that yet, but I'm like, this is making you more anxious. I told him this before. Well, he got COVID, and obviously you can't breathe. It makes you nervous, whatever. So his anxiety levels ramped up a bit, you know what I mean? And he's like starting to talk to me last night like he's dying. No, but like he's got, maybe I have lung cancer. Maybe we've missed my lung cancer, and maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, ruminating about all this. And I'm like, you got anxiety, and you have low serotonin, and you're not getting enough of these amino acid and cofactors, precursors in your gut and diet to absorb, to make those neurotransmitters. And so let's deal with what we know, what's real, and not just like what if.
Did he have the vaccine?
No.
Okay. No. Because I got to tell you, you freaked me out on that on my show. If you guys want to listen to some interesting facts that Dr. Lewerenz talks about. What did you tell us that? And I hate to divert because it's in the middle of a story, but you said go get a test if you've had COVID. Because you said 15% of the people who've had COVID and had the vaccine, there's a 15% chance higher of having a heart attack. And you said go get some study, some test.
So there's a lab that and I believe this, whether you're vaccinated or not, and this is so it's really based on the spike protein. And you can't really dissect the research on this as far as, is it people that are vaccinated or not vaccinated, or if it's COVID, you know what I mean? Because we still get COVID, right. And maybe even if it's not as severe.
You mean the flu?
Correct. But that's what I mean. No, but it doesn't. But the way that virus works is you can have the ability, and we're all different. We're all different makeups, all different genetics. There's a small percentage, but about 15% of people will become hypercoagulable.
That's it.
Their blood will become thicker. The test is a D-dimer. And a fibrinogen. And if those are high, it doesn't mean that you're having a heart attack right now. So, audience don't, but it means like, whoa, your blood's thick right now for some reason. And you should see a doctor, see a provider, whatever, and to unravel that. Now, every single patient, in fact, I get patients, it's funny, I'll tell you something funny. They get mad at me right now. And they ain't gonna go anywhere, and they love me and all that, but they get mad. They're like, I ain't doing a COVID test, doc. The reason I want to know if you have COVID is so that if I need to draw that blood, because you could just have a cold, have like the flu. It's like, I was rough for a week, whatever, felt like crap and blah, 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 blah. But that still can happen from the spike protein of the COVID, and especially the vaccine, especially you've been vaccinated many times. In fact, I have a guy literally, horrible story, new this week, multiple myeloma, 60 years old, many medical conditions. This is a long medical story, but he's had many vaccines, the most I've ever seen, 6. And the reason is because he had a therapy called CAR T therapy for his multiple myeloma, where they take out some immune cells, basically bathe them, put them in you. Long story short is it helps his multiple myeloma. But because the fear, and it's all fear-based, of COVID, they said, well, we need to, get you ramped up on your COVID vaccines. He doesn't know any better. He's the patient, he's like, okay. And he's scared shitless because he's got cancer, He got his typical 3, and he's had a booster every 6 months. He's on his 6th. And by the way, what's his health doing? Declining. That's why they ended up in my office, him and his wife, to like.
Thank God.
Yeah.
What is the COVID thing? It's a failed cancer drug. Mm-hmm. After I interviewed you, I went and read the real Anthony Fauci. We were talking about it before. Yeah. 917 people that were in NIH are receiving residuals. This is in the real Anthony Fauci, quoted by Robert Kennedy Jr. 917 are receiving residuals from one of the pharmaceutical companies for the drug that they approved, that they fast-tracked. How is that looking out for us? You want to get freaked out about these boosters, about this? Read that book. I was so anxious. It took me 3 weeks to read it because I had to dissect it. Yeah. And my girlfriend looks at me, she's like, you need to finish this book.
Yeah.
Because I would just look at it and go, you gotta be kidding me. The thing, and the thing about it is it must be true because he's never been sued. They never pulled the book off the shelf, and it's been out for 3 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's just one of the things. When you go back into the AIDS research that Fauci did, I mean, I don't want to go into it. Just go read the book. I know you've probably already read it, but I read about those vaccines. You will never. Now I had to rethink that I gave my kid the vaccines, not the specific COVID vaccine, but the ones that they tell you you have to do, which you don't have to do. Right. It's wild, man. And there's a whole industry. This is here we go.
we can get into a whole separate podcast.
Well, we want people to be healthy, and that's what this is about. 100%. So get educated, and there's stuff out there that you can read about. And if you don't like to read, if you're not a reader, and I know you are, go listen to this book. It is worth it. I'm not a big Robert Kennedy fan, but I think things are going to be changed next year because now, of course, Fauci retired. And,
well, and Robert Kennedy's trying to, not to get, big into politics and all that, but he is trying to make where he's putting some things in the public's hands that are not dangerous, that are natural, that are covered better, and because of that could happen, there good things could start to happen. The fact like something like peptides, the FDA's got them, black boxed where they can't, compound them, but they're natural. And they do wonderful things
because they work.
Yeah,
and they can't freaking make money. Big pharma can't make money off of it.
That's what I mean.
Well, you got to be careful because we'll get freaking we'll get algorithms.
Yeah. Well, that could happen.
It is what it is. Exactly. The one or two people that do listen will get some benefit out of this. Look at the two freaking good-looking old age guys.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens on that. But this is a big topic. We won't. But the point to this is that. You gotta, unfortunately, in healthcare now and in medicine, and it's kind of what we were talking here about is you unfortunately do have to be your own advocate. And hopefully, like you said, there's books out there, there's information out there. And this is not just to promote, obviously, my practice, okay, but a functional medicine, a personalized medical practice, somebody looking out for your own good, like a Longevity Health Institute, is what you should seek.
Guys, I've been doing this, and if you're watching this is on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
If you watch this on YouTube, I'm 49 years old, ripped, and I've been going to a longevity doctor. I go to you now since I was 38 years old.
Yeah,
and I'm going to live till well into my hundreds.
Yeah.
And you have to. It's a cheat code.
Yeah,
and just go and what you measure gets better. So I'm constantly looking at everything to make sure that everything's in line.
Yeah,
and hell, it's if you live longer, it's worth it. It's the best investment you'll ever make.
Correct.
That and reading books, I think, two easiest things.
Sure. Absolutely. No. So, by the way, you said something that triggered a thought that I wanted to ask you because this is not in my notes. This is not in something we don't prep much, do we? We just banter.
Wing it.
Yeah. But literally, is this? There's a book called The Psychology of Money, and there's a reference in there from some studies, and it's not about making money. It's about that book's about happiness, The Psychology of Money, and I forget the author off the top of my head. But this is so interesting because you just said something about that made me, trigger this thought is what when you to do or not to do something, you think of it if you're making choices based on what you might regret. If I'm going to do this, would this spending this money, or doing this project or not doing this, am I going to have a regret later in life? And the point to this in this book is that you literally live from your core values and your love of things. And so like most people on their deathbed don't regret, I wish I had another sports car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or I wish I went to Florida one more time or Hawaii or whatever, you know what I mean? But a lot of them are like, man, I wish I was healthier. I wish I'd made positive choices. I wish I had better cultivated relationships with family or friends or what have you, you know what I mean? So something you said kind of triggered that, but what I was going to ask you is there anything that you would think of like, man, where you're at now, just because where we're at now is not where we're at tomorrow or yesterday, right? You know
Right.
what I mean? But is there a regret or where you'd say, hey, I definitely wouldn't want to do this path because I think in 20, 30 years, 40 years, I would have a regret.
Yeah, my biggest regret, and a lot of people in the personal development space say I don't regret anything because I learned. I do. I regret not quitting drinking sooner.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I could have helped a lot more people.
Yeah.
So and then I want to live to my full potential, Jim.
Yeah.
Right now I'm butting up against something, but I'm breaking through it, and it's.
Well, you said 2025.
Yeah. Oh,
it's gonna be a good year.
We're breaking through it, and it's all in here.
Yeah.
It literally is. It's everything that I was fearing doing or everything I was avoiding is where the answer is. So, people do things for two reasons: to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's the avoiding pain that has the bigger carrying. It's the bigger weight. So that's why whenever somebody sells you something, they're always selling on pain. You don't want to die.
Right.
Don't get ransomware.
Right.
So we always lead with the pain.
Yeah.
But I lead with pleasure. Mm-hmm. I'm a carrot, not the stick guy.
Right.
So if I make this tough choice now, what's it going to mean for me tomorrow? And I love doing that. And it's only in today, day tight compartments. Because if I win today and win tomorrow, I'm going to win in the end.
Yeah.
And as far as regrets, man, I just want to be in a line with who God intended me to be when I die.
Yeah.
This is who you could have been. This is who you are. I don't want to be any lower than that. And
right.
I was headed down a path that was just
right.
dirtbagness,
Yeah.
and I would have had a lot of regrets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're going to make a big impact, and we are helping a lot of people in the IT game. We're helping a lot of people with the not drinking. We're helping people with fitness.
Oh yeah.
And now
motivational too. Just that's what people need too. Is tools that say it can be different.
Yeah.
It can be better. You can feel better. You can, achieve things in business. You can have a better mindset. I love it.
It's all about being happy now.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, don't chase happiness. Yeah, I'm going to chase happiness.
Yeah.
Because happiness. I said this before. Money won't make you happy, but happiness will make you money. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let everything else work itself out. And how I'll be happy is put myself first. It's not self-care. It's not selfish.
Yeah.
So I need to be healthy,
right.
both mind and body. Mm-hmm. You're keeping my body healthy. I'm doing my mind, and I'm doing all the other work around it to make sure that we're good. And guess what? I'm freaking happy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade places with anybody, not even you. And you live a damn good life.
Yeah. Well, I got some stuff, so don't be jealous. There's stuff. No, that's awesome. I love that. Speaking of that, though, okay, and try to be specific, okay, and maybe even like today or yesterday, What are your normal kind of routines? What are your things that you do? Because people ask me this, and I actually sometimes I tell them the truth, but I'm also like, listen, you don't have to do all of this, but just maybe try 3 of these. But tell me your daily routine.
I'll give you
kind of like what are the tools that you do to stay like this, to stay focused, to stay fit, to stay mentally good, sharp, etc.
Absolutely, and these are daily non-negotiables for me. Mm-hmm. And I find the days that I do this, which is almost every day, I feel great. I get up about 4:15, and I wake up with gratitude. You said it first, and that's why I want to make sure you told that 70-year-old lady gratitude. Yeah. And it's grateful for just little things.
Yeah.
I had a roof over my head. My daughter's safe in the next room. I get full belly. There's heat on in the house. Just anything.
Right.
And then I walk into my bathroom and I high five the mirror and say, "I love you." Mm-hmm. And then I sit down. I do a quick journal. I take my morning pre-workout. I'm off to the gym. Mm-hmm. Go hit the gym hard. hour 10 minutes. Come back, cook my daughter breakfast, meditate, and get her off to school. Go to the office. And in between there, I'm doing podcast prep. But the big things that you want to know is I end the day with dinner with my daughter, and then we both read, and then we repeat every single day. So what's the mainstays? Fitness, good meals, meditation, journaling, and lots of gratitude and exercise. Yeah. It's just you got to move the body. So those are my non-negotiables. I do them every day.
Yeah,
I just got back from vacation.
Love it.
Every single day. And I got to feed the mind. That reading, I'm learning in the last week, I really, really love to read. I'm finishing 2 books this week because I'm having them on my podcast. But it's free. It's $15 and you get an education every single time.
For sure. You can pick up something.
And I'm addicted to the expansion of my mind.
Yeah.
And it's
Let me ask you though,
fun.
you said about, because I'm just curious about this, because this is hard for me. I mean, I do it. Not often. I should do it. Meditate.
What? Oh, jeez.
And I have more in the past. It's my biggest struggle, truthfully. To get to where I slow down enough. I put the time in enough. You know, in my other repertoires of things that I do for kind of self-care and non-negotiables. But do you find that difficult? Do you find it difficult to get into that? And tell us about it.
Well, when you first started working out, was it difficult?
No, for sure.
You lifted 5-pound weights and you're like, it's flopping all over the place. So everything you first start doing is difficult. But when my mind is very busy, it is very difficult. And what I do is I try to set up times when I know I'm going to be successful. So you really can't be bothered. Sometimes my dog will jump on me, my cat will jump on me. So I make sure and find a room, and then I tinker with it. Like sometimes it's great first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's great after the gym. I usually don't like it to go too late in the day, but I did try some A/B testing. You're a doctor, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I said, this isn't working. I do the daily calm. It's a guided meditation, 10 minutes. Now this is not that. I said, it ain't working. So I pulled it out and I felt myself get agitated after a week.
Yeah.
So I put it back in, went away. So I would just tell you that it's anything, you got to stick with it. And I'm not talking a week. I'm not talking a month. I'm talking 6 months.
Yeah. Like
do it.
Permanent.
And then now it's just become a staple.
Right.
And I don't even think about it before I even, and then, I love the daily calm app because it holds you accountable. Accountability is everything, man. Right. That's the biggest thing.
For sure.
It'll tell you which days you did it. So I make it fun and say, here I got to do. But I take it a step further because I got to keep adding, like you're adding weight to add muscle. And I have conversations with God, which is prayer. Which is a form of meditation. Yeah. A lot of times I just sit and breathe and just be.
Yeah.
I'm a go, as you are. Just that moment of sitting and breathing and just it's kind of like pruning your brain because it's on, going.
Yeah.
How can I take over the world? We're trying to be the #1 podcast in personal development. And, I'm always moving those goalposts, but I still have to be happy with where I am. So those are my cheat codes. I try to do them first thing. I've noticed the biggest success is first thing in the morning and before your day gets started. And then the #1 thing messes me up, and it is my phone. My phone is my biggest issue. Yeah. I wish I could take that thing and throw it in the garbage. But it's, my social media guy was messaging me over Thanksgiving, and it took me like 5 hours to respond. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm on vacation.
Right.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I think I told you this too. Is take a phone vacation for an hour a day.
Yeah.
Because we're so attached to it.
Sure.
So I try the daily calm.
One way that, by the way, because this happened to me not long ago. My phone broke. And now I'm a concierge doctor, so obviously people have my number, and the habitual thing is I am during the day seeing patients, but I'm also like, hey, did somebody reach out about something? And of course I have an assistant that helps all that stuff too. But I knew this was a problem when this happened. My phone broke, and I had to take it into the phone store, and they said, yeah, give us like an hour or two. I said, okay, I'll go run errands. The minute I got in my car, I just gave him the phone, but this is how attached we can get to it.
You weren't looking for your phone?
I was like, oh, I got to call my wife and just tell her what's up.
Right.
I'm like lost. I'm not, but literally I was like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad that habitually I'm.
So there's some cool things, and I'm going to spill a little bit of what we did for you, and hopefully I'm not crossing a line. You can edit it out if it's a problem. Is we put in that AI for you guys.
Yeah. And we just started, and actually we're loving the start of it. Yeah.
I'm doing some for us and for my coaching. You might want to look into that for you, because most of the answers you can script it. You can tell them, like you can feed them podcasts too, and it'll answer for you, and it's pretty spot on. And I'm not doing it to try to be lazy, and I know you're not. It's for your mental clarity. Like if you got to be on all the time,
right.
It's impossible. You
Right.
even nothing can run 24/7,
You
365.
shouldn't be. That's the other thing is you shouldn't, because I had this big discussion with a patient, and everybody should hear this, including you, because we're grinders, we're goers, we're, hey, what, like you said, moving the goalpost and all that. But this is the thing is, one of the biggest things that I see disease with people are, and please out there listen to this, big stuff, cancers, heart disease, strokes, and I do believe it's connected to dementia, is sympathetic tone stress, meaning we always run on high sympathetic tone, high stress, and it's become our norm. The thing is, it's a good to have a stressor. It's called hormesis, and it's like you go to the gym, you stress that muscle, it inflames, it regenerates, and it gets stronger and bigger, right? It's no different. But when it's constant, your muscle would fatigue, it would tear, or it would, and it's no different. But the thing is, we're running always on high sympathetic tone, which if you think about it as a go, like a go, 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 that's sympathetic tone, and parasympathetic of your nervous system is a little bit calm and more relaxed. And there should be up and down, like the problem is that we're not just running from the tiger anymore in Paleolithic times, and then we have some food and a bonfire and sex. we're like running from the tiger all day long, and that's our norm. You know what I mean? And
Well,
so
that's a badge of honor now.
Well,
that's
yeah.
how you win. Oh, so and how I know that's true is ask you, how you doing, Jim?
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah.
So busy.
Yeah.
And it's no longer we get to connect with each other.
Yeah, no, that's true. Very, very true. So listen, I have a segment I do, and I told you what it was, but I know you're like, yeah, whatever, we're all good. So I do this. It's a little odd, but here, this is my memoir. This is my medical but psychological science memoir. I just take all these notes in here, okay? So I have guests do this. Just paged anything. If you can't read, I'll help you read it. And we'll have a little short talk about it.
I love it.
And it can be anything.
All right, away from your destination, are you on? I can't.
No. But which one?
This one.
Okay. Away from your destination, are you on the correct coordinates? A slight change in habits and behaviors in your life, you can leave you a radically different on your journey and your destination.
I love that.
Yeah, a slight change.
It's like an
By the way,
airplane.
that's all random. I you to see on there. It's all
Didn't we
random.
just talk about this?
Yeah,
That's
I did.
crazy.
And the reason I wrote that is because some people, I do, even though you're an on and off, like you said that. You're like, boom, hey, I'm either, hey, I'm had a fifth, and no, you know what, I'm not having a fifth anymore. I'm going to the gym and rocking and rolling, But some people need that, like, just a slight change in that coordinate, that, actionable. You'll find yourself down the road in a year, 6 months, like way better. And it's like, man, you look back,
Dr. Lewerenz, take that further out.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger change. So when you make a small change on an airplane or a boat, and then you take it out further, it's a huge discrepancy of the difference of where it would have been versus where it is. Yeah. So if you make a change now, and you said 6 months or a year, how about 10 years?
Yeah.
20 years?
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to be with the meditation with me and the journaling?
Yeah.
And I took it up so late.
Yeah.
And then the alcohol, getting rid of that. It's like I'm coming up on 6 years no alcohol. It's like, it's a cheat code.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I love it, and congrats on that, because that might be easy, might be hard, but I mean, that's a big needle mover.
Well, we've talked about it. You want better fruit, heal the root.
Yeah.
My guess is your 78-year-old patient has some issues from childhood that's making her do that. It's what mine was. Yeah. And once you heal that, you don't need a crutch. You don't need a mask. Nothing requires me to have a drink to celebrate or anything or to feel better.
Yeah, I love
feel good every day.
Love it. Yeah. Good deal, man. Well, thank you again for joining us, man. You're the man. Motivational, happy. I wish you happiness.
Good.
By the
you know
way.
what I didn't freaking tell anybody to do is if you message me on Instagram, kelly.siegel.71, I'll send you a PDF of the Heart and Life book. Follow me on Instagram, kelly.siegel.71. Go see Dr. Jim. He will absolutely make you healthier, happier, and handsome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all that. Yeah. True or not?
It's true. I don't lie. I don't have the propensity to lie.
Yeah,
I don't even know how.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for
brother.
being
Love
here,
you.
man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. God bless you. So again, thank you again for joining us on the Deep Six podcast, where we really, really are passionate about making a generational impact and moving the needle in your life in a positive direction. Be well.